Jarvis Neely here, you already know, it's your boy, the Mayor SF.
What's up, this is Travis from Death to Someday.
Yo, it's Justin from Tilted Rim SF.
Shout out to my guy, Gio.
Untitled Unlimited.
One love to Untitled Unlimited.
Untitled Unlimited.
Hey, what's good, y'all? This is Gio from the Untitled.mp3 podcast. Welcome back. Before we get into the audio file, I just want to let you guys know that we actually dropped some new merch. It's called the Listen to Rap Long Sleeve Tee. It's actually available on our website right now, Untitledunlimited.com. It's actually right here. This is how it looks. It's dope. It's inspired by hip hop, and it just reflects my daily routine of creating, which is listening to rap, creating, and drinking coffee, man. So if you want to support us by buying our merch, just head on over to the website. It'll be in the link. It'll be in the link. I don't know what that means. It'll be in the description. You can just click there, pre-order it before it's gone, man. So if you bought one already, thank you guys for supporting. If you still have yet to buy one, go on over, click the link. And if you're not gonna buy one, all good. Welcome to the Untitled MP3 podcast. So today's audio file, we're actually interviewing Johnny Travis, who is part owner of one of my favorite shops in San Francisco called State of Flux. Him and his business partner used to own FAZE Apparel, which was in the Mission District. They sold that business, and eventually they cooked up State of Flux, which is a new wave that's taking over San Francisco. I've bought many things from that store. It's top quality. It's innovative. With further ado, here goes the Johnny Travis audio file, aka the State of Flux audio file. Enjoy. What up, y'all? Welcome back to the Untitled MP3 podcast. Today we have a super special guest on the pod. Super excited to have him on. His name is Johnny Travis. If you don't know much about him, he used to own FAZE Apparel with his business owner, Herbert Gracia. And now he's on to bigger, better, just awesome things in the form of State of Flux. And before I keep going, I just want to allow you, Johnny, to introduce yourself and just let us know, who are you? What are you doing in San Francisco right now?
So as you mentioned, I'm Johnny Travis, just here in San Francisco, running a new brand, pretty brand new brand. We just started this brand in October, basically. We opened up our flagship store here in October. And as you mentioned, we had a previous brand prior to this. So we have, a few years of experience. We've been in this fashion industry for about 12, 13 years. Okay. And we've been in the Mission District with the actual brick and mortar store for the past 8 years. So State of Flux is the new movement. That's a new brand. So it's retail, in-house brand, as well as curated brands from around the world. And then we have a workshop and a photo studio all under one roof.
Nice. Before we get started, I just want to let the listeners know, man, I got the State of Flux on right now, man. This at the moment is probably my favorite hoodie, man. The quality is great. I bought in hats, sweaters, and shoes from your spots. So if anybody listens to this now, you got to go to State of Flux, the website, Instagram, all that stuff, and visit them in person. It's a great look, great aesthetic. And one thing I want to tip my hat off to you is that most shops that you go in, there's no experience. The only experience you have is pick an item and buy it. But when I walked into your store, it was pick an item, let's chop it up for a little bit, and then we can buy it. You can buy it casually as we're speaking. Is that intentional for you to create a relationship with the people who walk into your store?
Yeah, I mean, that's the way that we approach things. People that come into our store, no one's bigger than, we're not bigger than them. They're, we're equal, without people coming into our store and supporting us in what we do, there will be no us. And I think a lot of times people kind of get things misconstrued, and they kind of think, well, I'm cool, you need to come into my store and buy. Like, nah, at the end of the day, it's building rapport with the people that come in and support you. And it's genuine too. It's not like we're just trying to do this just to do it. Like this is a genuine interaction. I can know, I can gauge people. We've been doing this for a while. Sometimes there's people that come in, I engage them with conversation, and sometimes they're like, I can tell that they don't really want to speak too much, so I'll let them do their thing. And then there's others that want to know, what the brand is about, and they have a bunch of questions, and then those people I entertain as well. So that's just how we do it here. Obviously, the customers are always first here at State of Flux, and that goes, for myself and the rest of the crew. And we just know that, especially with this situation too, that everybody's involved in, with this pandemic and everything, for people just even to come into our store and just check out what we have going. Like, we're very appreciative of that. And even if they leave out the door and they don't buy anything, I always thank them for coming in and just taking the time out of their day to come and check out what we had to offer and listening to our story. So that's always a keystone and an important aspect of our brand and what we represent.
Nice, man. And, keep going for that, because it makes people feel like they're not only going into a store, but they're actually part of building the State of Flux wave. That's actually, I feel like it's buzzing. I don't know how you guys feel. I know, like, you're the owner, so you probably feel harder on yourself and you probably are more critical, but from the outside in, it looks great. It looks like people are loving it. There's a wave going on and people want to wear it. So congrats to you guys.
Thank you, man. This is just, it's a brand new brand, bro.
Yeah.
So, like, to us, we've been doing it for so long, but State of Flux is not even a year old. So, like, we're like, for us, we have that momentum of the experience and, like, carrying that on and the learning experience and building from that. But it's a brand new brand, and for us, it's hard for us to realize that sometimes. Like, we're barely even scratching the surface of what we really want to do. But every day, we're just taking it day by day, man.
What would you say to someone who says, like, okay, the only reason, I haven't heard this, but I can imagine someone saying that to this aspect of the podcast, of them saying, like, the only reason State of Flux is bigger is because you already had your previous brand. So what's the difference? Like, what are the obstacles, even though you have a whole bunch of experience in, like, the previous brand, what are the obstacles trying to start this brand new one?
The obstacles is just starting anything new. So regardless of what experience you have, whatever industry that you're in, you can have all the experience in the world. Like, when you're starting something new, you're new. And, like, that learning experience is great for sure. And you can, like, build off of certain things. But what a lot of folks, we don't come from this industry. What a lot of folks don't really realize, when we started our previous brand, like, we started from the ground. Like, we didn't know anybody. Like, how you come in and, we've developed a relationship over time. I didn't know anybody that had a store when I came up, when we came up in this industry. We didn't go to fashion school. So we didn't work retail at another fashion brand or another, like, streetwear store. Like, everything we learned and everything we built, like, we've learned from the ground up. We made mistakes, bumped our hair, continued to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And we carried that same learning experience with this. So, like, this whole new endeavor about, like, our brand and our physical space being multifaceted, in the sense that it's not just a retail shop. It's like, the photo studio and the work studio. Like, we don't have any experience in that. We used to do production, but as far as, like, running that whole operation under one roof, like, that's all new. So, like, the only thing I can say to people, like, yeah, the experience is great, but the only way you can really figure it out is if you get out there and try to make something happen. You're gonna make mistakes, and nothing's guaranteed. And for us, there was really no transition between. We didn't take, like, a year off and then come back with State of Flux. Like, we literally dropped one brand and then we were already developing another brand. So,
dang,
for us, like, we were thinking, like, oh yeah, we can do, like, the same numbers or whatever, whatever you think, like, the same output, same numbers, whatever. But we had to sit back and realize that this is a new thing, a new endeavor. And we had to approach it as such.
Yeah. And,
so that the only thing I can say is just get out there and try. And, like, the experience is great, but, like, experience is, like, working in the field and doing it, so
for sure. Yeah. Since we're talking about a new endeavor, at one point, just like clothing to you was new, and I read that you left the finance industry to begin a clothing company. Does that have any is that true at all?
Yeah, so I studied business in school, and I've always been into fashion, like, I've always been into it. Like, not to say I was like, oh, I need to get this brand. Only brand I really had loyalty to growing up is, like, Nike, right? Like, all these, like, designer brands. Like, I didn't really have, I wasn't like, oh, I need the Balmain, or I need the Goyard or the Gucci or the Louis. Like, it wasn't that. It was just, like, I knew how to put stuff together with what I had. And I've always had that fascination for the fashion part of it. And, upon graduating from school, my first job was in finance. Yeah, I worked at an investment firm. And while I was doing that, I was banging out, 10-hour days. And Herbert and I were, as soon as I get off of work, like, I'm dedicating my time to the brand, doing what we can online and things of that such. So I was doing both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
But that helped kind of, fuel the dream a little bit, as far as, like, the funding and stuff like that, because I had to have a job to, like, be able to because we weren't making money. So, like, you know, in the beginning. So we had to, you know, put money up to produce things, you know, put our own money up.
Yeah.
So, so I was working in finance but fashion has always been something that I've been very interested in.
Mhm.
And, even from high school, I mean, best dressed, you know, always, you know, like always, you know,
Yeah,
always been
I
into
feel
this,
you.
man. Like, yeah, always been into this. So, yeah.
That's cool. What was the biggest struggle of? I'm pretty sure there was a lot because you're coming from finance industry and you're going to the clothing industry.
Mhm.
What was the biggest, like the most obvious struggle that you were gonna face starting this new endeavor 12, 13 years ago?
I mean, when we first started it was more of just like a hobby. And for me, like I studied business, but like my heart is entrepreneurship. So,
Yeah.
you know, I was combining two passions sort of sense, right? So I had, you know, like the fashion was one of my passions, and then entrepreneurship, just the whole dynamics of running a business. Like I was able to combine both of them. And in the beginning, you know, like like I said, we didn't really make a lot. It took us a while before we started like really hitting, because we literally started from the ground. And you know, as far as the transition, it was just like working towards something on the side more than what I had during my 9 to 5 or 9 to 6
Yeah.
per se, because it was 10 hours. But so you know, it was just like working on something. I was like looking forward to that, or like doing things on the weekends, because I didn't work on the weekends. Anytime the market was closed, like you know, like we were closed. So
Yeah.
you know, doing events on the weekends, or like traveling down to LA to do events, and like
Wow.
all that stuff. Like I lived for that, you know, like that stuff. That's what kept me alive during that time working finance, because it was pretty like mundane, and it got to a point where eventually I like left that industry. It was very lucrative. Obviously, it's a good career, but I realized it wasn't for me, and I took that jump, and
Yeah.
you know, been doing the entrepreneur thing since then, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's super it's a cheap saying, but it's just like there you don't work hours when it's your passion. Like when it's your passion, you'll be there for 10 hours, and then 10 hours later you'll be like, "Oh shit, it's 2 a.m. already. All right, I guess I
Yeah.
have to go to sleep." Like I don't want to go to sleep, but I should go to sleep. Is that how it is for you right now with State of Flux?
Yeah. I mean, this is like I've dedicated my life to this. You know, like not to be like, you know, be really like grave like that, but like yeah, like this is as far as a career path. Like I've made up my decision. Like I've thought about like, oh yeah, maybe I should. Cause I mean, since I was like 14, like I started working. Right, I've always worked for someone, and you know, like which is nothing is wrong with that, but you know, a few years ago when things were kind of getting tough, like I contemplated like, oh, maybe I should like find a job and like go back to work. But I had like a good support system, and I was able to continue to do what I love. And I just made the decision, like I'm gonna continue pushing on this path of trying to make something happen. And just that thrill of like not really knowing what can happen in any given day. I mean, it's scary, but then it's also like a motivator, right? Because you don't know
Yeah.
where the next paycheck is coming, or like when the next you know
Yeah.
there's a lot of uncertainty, which is state of flux, a lot of variables there, you know. So but I live that life. Like I feel like I'm built for that, and I've kind of like accepted that for what it is, and continue to push that
Yeah.
as long as I can.
You kind of touched on like the ups and downs that State of Flux stands for. So
Hmm.
what was that one of your missions with State of Flux, with a new brand, with a new endeavor, to make it more personable to the everyday person? Because the everyday person goes through a whole bunch of ups and downs.
Yeah. So it was, I mean, yeah, that was the gist of it. The previous brand, it was very positive, fearless and zealous every day. Not to say State of Flux is not positive, but that's like very aspirational, right? Whereas like State of Flux is like the everyday, right? We all encounter that time where we're either on the top and we're trying to maintain that, or we're on the bottom trying to make our way up, or
Yeah.
we run into something and we have to figure out which way we're going to go, up or down. And like, that's very, that's the situation we're living in now. And I didn't foresee this happening with the whole pandemic, but like, this is the state of flux, it
Yeah.
just happened to come out like that. But, and it also ties back into like, with our previous brand, we were doing it for so many years. And like, that's just like, if you're in a relationship for so long, right, with person, and you're in a relationship for so long, and then all of a sudden, like, that relationship is gone, you know, and it's by our choice, right? So this is not like us having to bow down to anybody. This is like our choice for us being able to, you know, do the next thing. With that relationship, you know, all of a sudden you don't have it anymore, and like you're trying to figure out, like, well, should I just like step back and like chill and like do something else, or should I like hop back in another relationship, right? And for us, I'm just trying to use an analogy here. For us,
Yeah,
you
I
know, like
get
it was like that state of flux, right? Like we could have just bowed out of this industry and just like, all right, we had enough, like with this past experience, and like we had enough, like let's do something else, like we can do something else, right? But we decided we didn't want to. We decided we wanted to continue pushing forward, and you know, that was like that up arrow in the logo, right? Like we're gonna forget that. We're gonna come and do it again. Like a name is a name. Obviously, when you have a name and you have a brand, it's dear to you. It's like a kid. But we built one brand, and we, you know, like our things, like we can build another brand. Like this is what we do. You know, like that's not going to change us as people, and like us, you know, people that have relationships and built relationships with us over the years and support what we do, and we are very appreciative of them. And yeah, so that's what it was at the end of the day. So we just decided to continue pushing forward and moving in this industry that we've become accustomed to over the last 13 years.
Yeah, I think the environment can change around you. Like your old brand can go, your old brand can be sold, stuff like that. But the minds who built that brand isn't going anywhere because that's stuck with you. So you took that with you to the new brand. In the like right when you got over your previous brand, how long did it take for you to be like, let's start another one? And also, what did the beginning stages look like?
I mean, the beginning stages was just kind of just like plotting the whole concept. And it as far as like time frame, we were right when we were like at the end of, you know, like the previous brand, we were already kind of thinking of it, you know, because we were just going, it was just like a lot of like infringement stuff, people infringing on our mark, and we got tired of it. You know, it comes to a certain point where it's like, just imagine if you're like the first to something, you know, like you're the first Untitled and you've been doing it for X amount of years, and then all of a sudden another Untitled comes, and then they're like, they may, you know, get more recognition or maybe more prevalent on social media, and all of a sudden everyone's calling you the copycat, right? Yeah. Like that shit tears at you at a certain period, especially if you put your blood, sweat, and tears into something, right? So for us, we were already plotting like the exit strategy, and so we were like, it took us a while, Herbert and I, to kind of like come up with the concept and like the name. We were like throwing around a couple names and concepts, and you know, developing the logos and stuff like that. So, I mean, that was like the span of over a few months, and then like all the logistics stuff, like getting like the trademarks, the LLCs, and like getting all that stuff lined up prior to even being open here in October. So we kind of got all that stuff done like 2-3 months before like opening up the shop, because we had to like, you know, we had the decision of whether we want to stay at our previous location or we want to have a new location. And we almost stayed at our previous location, but we were like, nah, this is a fresh start. Like, let's start new, you know? Yeah. And I think it was a good step, even though, you know, like we're on the main street and obviously it's like more expensive to operate here, but it gives us a fresh start. Like we don't have any old like skeletons in our closet. Like, oh, where's this, you know, like so we still have to explain, you know, to certain people. But you know, like it was good to get that fresh start. So identifying the right location and then the build out and everything. I mean, that took, you know, the span of like 4 to 6 months. So yeah, we were already plotting, you know.
I feel like I'm sorry.
No,
I feel like that, like the span of 2, 3, 4 months, that's pretty fast to like get all the legal stuff down and get all the branding down, the colors, the logo, the feel, the meaning behind the name. Well, now that I mentioned the meaning behind the name, what exactly is the State of Flux for those people who haven't walked into your store, hasn't heard about you? What is the State of Flux?
It's about, and this changes, you know, it changes not every time, but it's the ups and downs, as we already kind of explained, of life, just everyday life, the ups and downs of everyday life. And it's also just uncertainty and being able to be comfortable with uncertainty, right? Whatever we do, like once we have that comfort, then whatever happens doesn't really sweat us or doesn't really like, you know, like affect us as much as it can, because you're like comfortable with like, oh, whatever I do now, like anything could happen, right?
Yeah.
So for us, it's, you know, it's just that ups and downs, and then it's like the uncertainty, and it's also about like when you encounter a situation, like how does that affect your character at the end of the day? Like that determines like how, if you get hit with a bad situation and you come out on the other side in like a positive light, like that develops character. It's a learning. Like a lot of times, like people say like, oh, I don't take losses. It's a learning experience, right?
Yeah.
I don't take L's. It's a learning experience. Like that's the same kind of gist, right? Because once you get that, you take that L, like it's a learning experience, but then that develops your character. So, you know, like at the end of the day, like when you're coming through it, like you're better at the end of it, even if you're in a bad situation. And the bad situations are always temporary, or those downs are always temporary situations. Like, and you know, sometimes people are in those temporary situations longer than others, but it's just about like how you come out on the other side of that. And just articulating it through the brand, it's our story. It's the story of our supporters. It's the story of our current situation now. And that was not by design, but that, you know, no pun intended. It's just, you know, it's the everyday. That's what it is. It's the everyday.
When I walk into State of Flux and I see your Instagram and stuff like that, you have, I believe I've seen pictures of Kobe, of Mike Tyson, I believe Muhammad Ali. Are these people like people you look up to because they have like proved that they can get through that state of flux? They can go through the ups and downs. Is that the meaning behind putting these people not at the forefront, but on your Instagram, in the store, stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, with these, our mantra is never break, never settle, never fold. And that all ties back into, you know, like the ups and downs, and like when you encounter a situation, like how you react, right?
Yeah.
So like these particular, it's the people that are portrayed in these images in the store and like on our story and Instagram, but it's like those specific moments that we have pictures of, right? So like, for instance, with the Kobe picture, it's like after he won his first championship and he's in the locker room, you know, like with the trophy, and he looks sad, right? You think that you should be elated in that situation, right? But that's like a clear articulation of like never settling, because like he knew that there could be more than one championship, so he wasn't satisfied with that situation. So like that's like that's how you articulate the never settle. The Mike Tyson, you know, like I think it was one of the fights, maybe it was the Buster Douglas fight, when he's like in the corner and he's getting, you know, patted down, and he looks defeated, right? But he didn't, you know, like he lost that fight, but he didn't break, right? Because he came back after that, after, you know, like going to jail and the whole situation, like he came back and became a champion and eventually lost, but like he bounced back from that situation. Yeah. And that's like not breaking. Like you can bend, but don't break. You know, like if you fold a little bit, meaning like a fold, you can always bounce back into shape.
Exactly.
You know? So yeah.
Dang, I love that. Now that we talked on Kobe, I just want to throw my favorite Kobe moment out there. It was an interview. No, it was a post-game interview, and I think it was the playoffs, and the Lakers had won a playoff game, and the interviewer was just like, "How come you don't look happy?" And Kobe, with the coldest look on his face, he said, "Why would I be happy? The job's not done." And chills went through my spine when I heard that, because I'm just like, you just won a playoff game, but then Kobe's like, I haven't killed it yet. I haven't killed them yet. Like, we won, but we still got 3 more or whatever games they got to go. Yeah. So I think that's like a perfect example of the state of flux meaning and the way you go about things in life, really. Another question I had is the mission somewhere you wanted to be on purpose, or did you just find yourself there one of these days?
So the mission was a place that we identified. So there was with our previous brand, we were selling out of one of the first stores we were selling out of was one of the stores here in the Mission, and it was doing really well here. And I was just like, well, there must be. I mean, I know the Mission because like I grew up here, but I knew it was a lot of change kind of happening in the area, and it was starting to become like more of a destination, you know, because like when I was growing up, you would just come here to like do business, right? Like you'll go to the meat market or like go shopping, whatever, like to buy, you know, my mom would buy me like little cheap BMX bikes or whatever from the little, you know, like the Asian stores or whatever, you know, like and stuff like that. So it's, you know, like our little toys or little knickknacks and stuff. But I noticed that it started becoming like more of a destination, you know, and at that time, like that was a key indicator that it was like doing well, you know, like when we were selling out of that store, and then we were just like, let's look into this a little bit more. And we kind of looked into it, and then once we would decided to like make a jump and like open up a store, which was not really like our initial plan. We were just like, we just want to build our brand and like wholesale it out, and like wholesale and like just build it like that. But then we just kind of got to a point where we just got frustrated with people not really giving us a chance, because we didn't have a cosign, or we were not like one of the well recognized brands. So like, oh no, you got cool stuff, but like I don't know if I want to give you a shot, like. So we're just like, fuck it. Like, let's just open up our own spot.
Damn.
And then we just, we opened up our own spot. And the mission was the spot because of that. Because, like, we know the change in the area. And then we were kind of doing good as far as, like, the customers kind of supporting our brand.
Yeah.
And, so that was what it was. And I think it was a good decision. We love the area.
Yeah.
So it's, it all kind of worked out.
That's cool, bro. I'm glad you love the community you're in, and I feel like through your Instagram, just through talking to you in person, I feel like you want to give back to the community as much as possible by providing workshops of IGTV info videos. Why is like giving these resources to people so important to you?
Well, I mean, it's in this area too, and I think there's like a lot of people that's on the other side of the coin that opened up here, like whether it be like a lot of big organizations, or I mean, you can't really have like a chain formula retail like on Valencia because it's an independent corridor for merchants, right? But it wasn't about take from the area. It was about giving back, and that was like the thing from the beginning. Even when we had our previous store, we would do like art shows, and we would bring a lot of artists. It'll be like their first time showing at any public space, and then for that, we will raffle off certain pieces, and then we'll donate to different, the Boys and Girls Club was instrumental to me growing up, and it was very important to me. So like the first raffle and donation we did was like, oh, we're gonna give it to the Mission Street Boys and Girls Club, like give the money to them. And we did that with a lot of, we were giving money to a lot of different organizations, just as much as we can as a small business. And with State of Flux, we wanted to do that as well, whether that be through knowledge or whether that be through us donating face masks to people. For everyone that purchased, we were donating a Go Live 20 face masks to some of the local essential workers as well. So it's all about, it's not about just take. It's about giving back to the community. And that's always been a facet of our brand and like what we represent as people. So it all stems from that.
That's cool, man. I really appreciate you guys doing that, because I even told you the last time I saw you that I gained something from watching one of your IGTV info videos. So, big ups to you for doing that, man. You hit on the masks real quick. Tell us about the mask. What organization are they going to, or like how do you donate them, and how are they made? Are they made by hand? Do you just order them and then put your logo on them, or how does that go?
They're all constructed here in our workshop.
Nice.
So yeah, they're all constructed here by our squad. And as far as the donations, we just basically just walk down the block, a few blocks, and just like every business that's open or whatever, or like whether it be like firefighters or just local businesses, we would just give it to them. Like we'll just give them a free mask. Hey, you want a mask? Here you go. And then we did some donations to like some schools and stuff too. And so we'll do like donations with schools and like so just wherever we can in the area, that was the whole thing for it. So yeah, it's literally just we're on foot and we're just like walking door to door to different places that were open, and just like giving masks to people.
Dude, that's the way to do it, man. I want to ask you, like, now that COVID hit, obviously it was an obstacle to get over for sure. Once this is done, what are your plans for State of Flux? I know you want to open a workshop, screen printing shops, a photography studio on the back. Are you gonna have any art shows when stuff gets back to normal? And what kind of workshops are you gonna implement?
So the focus, I mean, it kind of got put on hold now with COVID, was the workshops. We want to have like small groups of people kind of give people the insight of our industry and let people know, what we do and like what the industry entails, whether that be through sewing, whether that be through screen printing, heat pressing. We have a chain stitch machine too. So we might have the goal was to have like different projects for small groups of classes. We're gonna do some stuff with schools too. And yeah, so it's, like that's like one of the goals too. And then like the photo studio, we did like the Valentine's Day shoot here.
I saw that. That was sick.
Which is pretty cool. Like we want to do more stuff like that for like special days, whether it be like Father's Day, come and take a family photo, and we can print the photo here. It's just community. Like it's just bringing the community together. Yeah, like the commerce and the business is one part, but like the community is essential. Like that's what it is, and that's what longevity is at the end of the day. Yeah, so we plan on doing that. I mean, one thing this had taught us was, we were able to, fortunately, we're able to like navigate through the situation, and we're not completely out of it yet. But when everything was locked down, we were able to, pivot our business and do the face mask construction, which took up a lot of our time. When we're sending out thousands of masks to people from online orders and stuff, and like donations. But to me, like, if we can get through this kind of situation, like there's no limit to like what we could do. Like once the brakes are taken off, which is this pandemic, which I mean that's the brakes essentially. Like it's just full steam ahead, bro. Like that's just what I think. And that's that's a lot of stuff for not only for here inside the shop, whether we do like host pop-ups for some of the brands that we carry. The art shows we may do, that's not immediately in the plans, but if a situation arises where that comes up, then we'll do that. We've done so many art shows in the past, and we kind of want to do something a little bit different with State of Flux. But yeah, so like that may be another thing. And then also taking our brand on the road and teaching the different aspects that we do via pop-ups, like whether it be like clothing production, screen printing, sewing, and like taking our workshop essentially on the road in the mobile facet. That's another goal of ours as well. Is like traveling in different places around the world and having that, show what we're about and what we do and what our brand is.
Nice, man. Well, I'm excited to see all that happen after this is done, man. I know you have so many goals like that you want to hit right now, so I'm just excited to see one of them after this is done. We're wrapping up here. I want to let you get back to work. I know you're FaceTiming me from the shop, so right on. Thank you for fitting this in your schedule. Just let people know, like, what do you carry in the store? Like, what brands, what kind of clothing, what kind of shoes, stuff like that.
Okay, so we have our own in-house brand, which is the State of Flux brand. It's developed, designed in-house. We do a lot of the production in-house, and then we curate pieces from other brands. And this curation is not like, this is literally like hand-picking pieces from these brands. We don't take their entire lines, but all the brands we have, we have brands from Japan, Australia, UK, Taipei, Finland, like it's just, we've been in the industry for so long, and this is like stuff that's curated to our taste and our styles. And we just pick pieces from them, and we try to make sure we're the only store in San Francisco that has those pieces to kind of keep it exclusive. So if they see something here, they know like, okay, like I've never heard of this brand. I mean, like the brand Karhu when you bought the pair of Karhu shoes from us a few months back, like a lot of people come in, they never heard of Karhu, but Karhu has history, and it's just like offering people these unfamiliar gems is like a goal for us. Like, a lot of the brands that we have, like we're a lot of times the first store in the United States to carry these brands. Ooh, so like when people see them and like they have like a globe, like they start bubbling in the States, like, I saw them at State of Flux first. And it's not just because of that, but it's just like offering like that exclusivity and offering people like great product. And it's not just like name brand. If it's like, I want Bape, I want BBC, like that's great and all, but like at the end of the day, like I want the product to speak for itself. And then like they look at the brand like, what's this brand? It's not like I'm coming here looking for specific brands, but we have we have a few of those brands too, whether it be like New Era or Mitchell and Ness, that are a little bit more recognizable. But it's just sprinkling all that in and offering it to our supporters. So
yeah. Well, every time I step in, you always have something I like, man. My wife has to stop me from buying so much clothes. But, I mean, I like a lot of your in-house designs, and I also like whatever you curate yourself. So good job, dude. And before we leave, let people know where to find you on Instagram, your website, just stuff like that.
Okay, so all of the social media handles, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything is Stateofflux.shop, one word. And then the website is Stateofflux.shop. So yeah, you can find us on everything, whether it be Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Everything is Stateofflux.shop, and Tumblr too. We're still on Tumblr as well, Stateofflux.shop. So you can find us on all of it. Everything is the same.
Nice. Hey, man. Well, thank you for doing this interview. I really, really appreciate it. Especially, man, you're a business owner. I'm pretty sure you're busy like crazy. So thank you for doing this. And y'all, thank you for tuning in to the Johnny Travis audio file, aka the State of Flux audio file. So tune in for the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We out of here.